What's up guys, Spin Firearms here, and in front of me are the true best values for concealed carry or just in firearms in general. The Smith & Wesson MP40 Shield Plus has been a perfected platform, and they did that by allowing you to get more capacity in such a small, shootable, concealable package. It has a lot going for it, but the problem is, the lowest I've seen it is $350, and we're doing $349.99 and below. So this handgun, unfortunately, even though it's the best overall value that you're going to see in this video, this does not count. Is it worth it to spend the little bit of extra money to get this? 100%. Same goes with the CZ-P10S. It's the greatest value on the market right now, hands down. One of the best shooting handguns I own, and it's only for $350 and up. I've seen them for $350, but never below. They usually stick around $350 to about $415. That's what I see them on average going for. Sometimes there's deals, sales, gear up packages, all sorts of stuff. But this right here is one of the greatest handguns I own and one of the flattest shooting handguns I own. But like I said, we're doing $349.99 and below. So we're going to start off with the best deals. Hands down is going to be the MP40 Shield. Now this one, normally I run in 357 SIG, but for the sake of the video, I put the old 40 barrel back into it. If you buy this, it's $299. That's what I got it for. I've seen them all over the internet for $299, sometimes $315, $320, all the way up to $350. But what I paid for mine was $299.99 before taxes and all that stuff. But this is one of the greatest handguns I own. And what I like about budget firearms, I know there's a lot of channels out here that talk down on them, talk crazy about them, and I get why they do. But at the same time, $300 as a plumber, having a handgun that cheap, I know it's going to get destroyed. I know the finish is going to wear. I know it's going to get beat up, dented, gunked up. $300 is a reasonable amount of money to spend on a reliable platform with a lot of power in it that you don't care about beating up. For $300, I'm fine destroying this thing, and in a couple years from now, getting a new one for pocket carry. But MP40 Shield is by far the best value. Next up is going to be the Stoger ST9 Compact. I paid $230 for this. I've seen it for $230 on a couple websites. Normally it's around $250, $270, which is still a great price to pay for this thing. The finish isn't as good as another option we're going to talk about. The finish is one of the areas that this handgun lacks, but overall ergonomics, the fact that it's a Glock 26 clone with a rail, takes Glock 26, takes down like a Glock 26. Everything functions on this handgun really well, but the number one thing I like about it is its overall ergonomics and that flat face trigger that Glock doesn't give you. And a flat face trigger like this actually does make a big difference, especially with the way it feels on your finger, and also always locating the same exact spot on that trigger every time you go to shoot it. So the Stoger ST9 Subcompact, an awesome handgun. Trust me guys, Stoger's on the rise. They're going to be coming out with some crazy stuff here soon. I can already tell from their micro compact release. Talking about their micro compact, that is by far third on this list. Now I paid $349.99 for this, so it just made the list, just barely, but this is one of my favorite Micro 9s already. I love shooting it. It handles recoil well, but I really like the overall texturing and ergonomics on it. That is something that's pretty rare with a lot of these Micro 9s. Sometimes they're too thin, they're not wide enough this direction. There's all sorts of things with these small handguns that can make them sort of awkward to shoot and cause you to not shoot as well as you should. And I think the Stoger ST9 Micro Compact, wearing size large gloves as I do, I think honestly fills the hand pretty decent. Obviously, it's still a small handgun, so it's not going to feel perfect like a Glock 19 Gen 3 or a Glock 43X, but it feels so good in the hand, and they have a lot of features. Memory pads, adjustable rear sights, a rail in the front. Like I said, the texturing is just on point. It takes all of the full-size handgun mags, the subcompact that I just showed you. It takes that mag. Has a better finish on it than the other Stogers. They upgraded their finish. And yeah, there's other magazine options as well that come with it. It comes with 2 mags. So overall, just a great option right out of the box. Like I said, though, aftermarket support and magazine availability is the #1 problem with any Stoger handgun, but they're getting there. The more people that buy these things, the better off we're all going to be. I mean, just think about the Mossberg MC2SC when it came out. You couldn't find mags anywhere. You couldn't find holsters. Now you can find it everywhere. So that would be the Stoger ST9 Micro Compact. Next up's definitely got to be the Taurus GX4. The GX4 is just an awesome, awesome handgun by Taurus. I know that people are not a big fan of budget firearms like Taurus. I'm not 100% sure why. I know that they have a rough pass, but their G3C and GX4s and TX22s have actually performed really, really well. A lot of people say don't trust your life with a Taurus. I'm somewhere in between because mine have been really good to me, have lasted through a lot of bull crap, have ran a lot of rounds, all sorts of stuff. So I have no problem talking about it. If I had to carry it, I definitely would, but definitely not my first choice, but a great micro compact for the money. But personally, I do like that Stoger a little bit better. Next up, once again, another awesome value, a CZ P10M. People were getting these for $299, $275. They were getting real low at some points, right? $315, whatever the case may be. But majority of the places you're going to find this handgun, it's going to be under that $349.99 mark. And you get an awesome finish on it. Now, this handgun was not designed for competition, fast shooting, whatever the case may be. This was designed for self-defense perfection, right? Making a handgun that's basically 100% snag-free, that shoots really, really well, that takes down relatively easy. And yes, the trigger's a little bit longer and heavier, but it's called the M for a reason. This was designed to be a micro pocket carried single stack that had very low recoil. So you can get these, decent speed shots off, but low recoil back on target real easy. Like I said, it's not the average CZ P10 series trigger, but it is a good trigger. It's crisp, it's clean, it's just heavier, which is your safety. Now, overall, right out of the box, it's a great handgun. I do prefer putting some grips on there, even though I sort of messed my grips up. It is what it is. I did a homemade job. Overall, for pocket carry and small light carry, I don't think there's a better option for the money out there. CZ P10M. Next up, we have to throw it on the list, the Taurus G3C. I got mine for about, $230, $240. And yes, they're not the most attractive looking handguns. You see them in videos all the time, used in the wrong reasons, or people being unsafe with them, but I don't think that discredits the G3C as a whole. I think that's the people that get them. But overall, a great handgun. They just run. The finish is absolute trash on them, but honestly, ergonomics are pretty decent. Texturing's pretty decent. Has a rail, 12+1 capacity. Comes with 3 mags, and the mags are made by Metgar, so how can you complain about that? Glock compatible sights, so you have any sight picture you'd ever want. Takedown like a Glock. Some come with manual safeties. They tend to be cheaper. Little memory pads with no texturing. It is what it is, but for a cheap handgun like this is one of the ones that just runs, right? And that's what we want out of our handguns. Next up, I got to go the GeForce Arms Rapture. I have 2 of these, so a pretty decent sample size. I've had no issues yet. Over 1,000 rounds combined between the 2 of them. The finish isn't that bad. I'm actually surprised with how well it's been holding up. Texturing is where this thing wins. Texturing, ergonomics, and that trigger. Really nice handgun. The upper is compatible with the Glock 26, so you can swap uppers and some of the internals, just not the mag catcher mags. This is a 12+1 setup right here with that flat face trigger that feels really good in the hand. Optics ready. Comes with fiber optic sights. These go for about $330 for the all black version. I mean, you really get a lot in this package, and it just runs. Like, the trigger's Glockish, but it's a better trigger shoe than Glock, which really makes a difference and making it a little more crisp, clean, and a little bit better feeling on your finger. Everything's ran for me, not a single issue. That's your GeForce Arms GF9 Rapture. Next up, it's getting really hard, but I would say I like the Stoger ST9 Compact. For some reason, I just like the Stogers, and I just have good experiences with them. And for some reason, they all are very comfortable in the hand. That's what I like about them. This is Glock 19 size, just a little bit shorter in both directions, but only holds 13, but like I said, it's shorter. This mag will work in that micro compact I showed you earlier and that subcompact. So they're all magazine compatible between their double stacks and their 2.5 micro carry. It's actually pretty cool. But overall, they run well, they shoot good, and they're cheap. These are like $280, $275, and this is going to be comparable to a Glock 19. Like I said, just a little bit smaller in each dimension. But overall, a good shooting handgun and reliable. And Beretta owns this company, so, decent reputation behind it. Next up, I do have to go Dagger. The Dagger's just tons of people always talk about them in my comments, and that's where I get a lot of my information from. If a person's saying they're having malfunction, they're normally not lying about it. They're trying to figure it out, trying to see if you've had those issues, that whole sort of thing. And Daggers, from what I hear, just seem to run. Same with my sample size of 2. I have 2 Daggers. This one was $279.99, just a plain Jane version, but for another home defense or just a backpack gun, a cheap truck gun, a fishing gun, a garage gun, just another handgun that's reliable that you can stash somewhere else around your house, this is a great way to go. They feel really good in the hand, and that's one of the selling points for me is how it feels in my hands because I don't have the best hands. And last but not least is one of the newer handguns I got, but I've actually really been enjoying it, the SD9 2.0 from Smith & Wesson. Now, Does it feel like the best quality gun in the world? Definitely not. I think the G3C and the Dagger have better quality. The Stogers have better quality, stuff like that. But the overall texturing feels good in the hand. This is 16+1, being about the same size as the Glock 19, so you get an extra round. Definitely not trusting it as much as a Glock 19. That's not what I'm saying at all. But overall, it has a decent trigger on it. It's not like the Shield Plus trigger or anything like that. But it's a nice feel on that flat face trigger shoe. Overall, a little bit heavier than what I was expecting, but I do like the stainless steel and black. Sights are pretty cheap on it. As you can see, those look like polymer, and then the front one looks metal. It's really weird. Overall, a pretty good shooting handgun, and I got this for $299.99 at my local store, so chances are you could find it maybe a little bit cheaper. But it's a tack driver. Like I said, not the best quality, but the accuracy is so on point. The shootability is on point, and it's one of the greatest handguns that you could possibly get right now for that money, even though I just showed you a bunch in front of it that I would prefer over this. But if you're in the market for a compact, this is a great way to go, and if you like Smith & Wesson, even better. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.